It's not December yet. Why are we celebrating Christmas? Drop and leave. Be cruel to be kind sometimes.
I see people just flying up ladders like it's like they're walking down the street.
I could fly up a ladder. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest.
All right, then we'll put the ladder up for you then.
I will. I'll do it. If you buy the lights, I'll put them up.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Fun Dad, Dean and Wife Unfiltered podcast. I am Dean.
And I am Sarah.
And we have started this podcast to give a true representation of parenting.
We are here to give you an unfiltered, realistic discussions of how we are attempting to parent our two young children, work, maintain a home, and attempt to have a social life. In today's podcast, we will be addressing use of the C word, but we will get into that a bit later.
But first, we have a who is in the right dilemma, and this week, it's our own dilemma, something that happened to us this week.
Yeah, so essentially, long story short, I work a lot in the week, and the girls had a gymnastics trial at a new gymnastics club. So I was like, absolutely buzzing, you know. My eldest friend was going there, and she was like, yeah, great, let's go to this new trial. Oh, it was unbelievably stressful.
Oh, Daisy walked in from school and she was like, I'm not doing gymnastics. She's obviously been worrying about it all day long, I think. She's a bit like that. Came in and she's like, I'm not doing it, crying. I was like, why aren't you doing it? She's like, what if I'm not in her friend who's going to class, doesn't know anybody, like really anxious. And just trying to get her out of the house to go and do it was an absolute nightmare. And our youngest had a trial as well, and she was fine. Weren't she? She was fine to go, and then she got there, and yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, well, I think when you're taking a child to a new club or maybe even a kids' party, and you're taking a child anywhere, I do think that some children, you know, you see it, don't you? You know, when your kids start school and they go to the reception parties, and you're all, or maybe nursery, and you go to this big group, and then maybe the party's an hour and a half, and then 10 minutes before the end of the party, that's when they start to warm up. Do you know what I mean? They sit on your lap. I don't know if anyone's experienced that, but I definitely have. Or you go to a party and they're kind of like koala'd to you for the first part of the party, and then they finally warm up, and then you think, oh, well, great, that's 10 minutes, we've got to leave. But yeah, so I took them to this gymnastics trial, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me up, really, because we walked in, everyone was fine. They were in their clothes. They were like buzzing to have a go. And then Ruby just sat on a bench, started crying, and refused to do it. And I was just, and I think as well, the lead up to me doing that, like I worked all day, I'd made sure their clothes were ready. I'd had to get my mum to pick them up from another club to take them home to get in time for this trial. We had to leave the house at 5 p.m. I rushed in from work. I got home at 5 minutes. And then it was just a whole,
I just think it's really frustrating because this was obviously a good class to get them in. And we know our girls, once they get into somewhere, they love it. Like, they just need a bit of time to warm up. But that initial first couple of sessions is often very difficult, isn't it? So I did a poll on Instagram, and it was the night that happened. I wrote, your child is anxious to go to a new club because they don't know anyone. What would you do? And the options were make them go first a couple of times or let them stay at home. And 92% said make them go first a couple of times. Had loads of messages like elaborating on that as well. Because I'm massive on this. I feel like I always say go 2 or 3 times, and then if you're not enjoying it, then they'll pull you out. But
I couldn't get them in.
No, I know.
Literally could not get them. I got them through the door, and then it was awful. All 3 of us. I just was sitting there thinking, oh, first of all, you kind of get embarrassed, don't you? Because people are looking at you and your kid's like sobbing. And it's like, no, she just literally, I don't know why she's sobbing. And then I knew they'd enjoy it once they get started. But it's that balance of how far should you push a child if they're in that state? And I ended up making the decision after about 20 minutes. And I just went up to the lady at the desk and I said, look, she's not in the right mental state to do this today. I know my child, and she's not going to do this.
I think just taking her was I obviously support you having to take her. Just going, I don't want to go because I'm scared or I don't know anybody, and then staying at home is not going to set them up well for life, in my opinion.
I'd take them again.
Yeah, cool. You have to force them out of their comfort zone because life isn't comfortable. You have to do it as an adult. So if you're not always like, oh no, you're a bit scared, don't do it, then that is just setting them up for failure further down the line, in my opinion. And we know that 2 or 3 sessions in, they'd have loved that. It is incredibly frustrating, isn't it? I felt so much frustration when they didn't want to do it. But
and the ironic thing was, it was a gymnastics trial. And we got home, and I think I was upstairs doing some washing, putting washing away, obviously, because that's all I ever do is put bloody washing away. And then I just heard this like cry and scream from downstairs, and I ran downstairs, and Ruby's crying, clutching her face. And I said, "What's happened?" Daisy only bloody cartwheeled and then head-butted her, like kicked her in the face. And I thought, oh my God, so you wouldn't do it at the gymnastics trial, but you're quite happy to cartwheel around my house and then kick your sister in the face. So yeah, she's got a little black eye, bless her now.
Like someone wrote in saying, my daughter cries the first time at any club. We started bringing her home and she was upset she was missing out. And we felt cruel, but we persevered and danced and brownies with her crying for the first 2 to 3 sessions. And now she loves it, has so many friends and new activities. And that's the point as well.
Yeah.
They will end up not resenting you, but they will, because, okay, you pull them out in that moment because it's more comfortable to pull them out. But then later down the line, they're like, my mum and dad should have forced me to do that.
Yeah.
They should have the first 2 or 3 sessions at least, because most kids, if they enjoy the activity, will meet 1 or 2 friends and then they'll start loving it from then. If they don't enjoy the activity, then of course you don't keep it going.
Yeah.
But it's like Daisy with her football. She's gone a few times and now she just loves it.
Watch this space. Will I take them again and go through that 20 minutes of crying on a bench, begging me to leave?
There was another good option as well. Tell the teacher that they feel anxious before you go.
Oh, the teachers were great.
Were they?
They did that. They tried that, and they said that her older sister could join in. And yeah, I think as well, it wasn't happening. It was 5 o'clock. Ruby's trial was 5 o'clock. Daisy's trial was 6:30. No, it was 7 actually, her trial. It was 7 p.m. And it was all just a little bit late, a little bit rushed. They'd been at school all day. They'd been to another club. They'd had my mum. Then they'd gone home to you. Then I had to pick them up. And I think it was just, yeah, it was manic. So, yeah, absolute failure.
Just
really.
one last point on this. Someone wrote in saying, sounds mean, but they learn confidence from being pushed. Only time I think it's too much if they're full on crying, which is what happened to us, and getting so physically worked up that the risk of making them more anxious is probably more than the benefit. That's a good point. Like if you over push them, if they're absolutely screaming or crying and you're overly pushing them, are you like creating, more anxiety in that moment? I don't know, it's a difficult one.
I don't know, but obviously as a primary school teacher for the last 15 years, and I've predominantly been with the younger children, that I see a lot of separation anxiety, and I have over the years, and I would say 99% of children, when their parents drop them at the door and maybe they're a bit upset or they're a bit anxious and they cry, 99% of children, by the time they get to the door or the time they get in the classroom, they're absolutely fine. It is just that idea of leaving. And possibly maybe it would have been better for me with the kids just to have dropped them off at the trial and left.
I think that would have.
Yeah, and then I wasn't there. They got stuck in.
Because our kids would probably have been embarrassed about crying without you there. Yeah. I don't think they would have kicked off without you there, but then they've got that comfort of doing that. I think in that instance, if we can get them there again, maybe just sort of
drop and leave.
Because
be cruel to be kind sometimes, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think the longer you drag out that goodbye at these kind of things, if you have to do a drop and leave, school or a club that you can't stay and watch, I would say drop and leave is probably the best. And I'd like to think that whoever you're trusting them with at that time, if they hadn't settled within 10, 15 minutes and, they were getting distressed, just a quick phone call. Do you know what, actually, they're not settled. Can you just pop back?
Exactly. 99 times out of 100, that's not going to happen, is it? They're going to be settled. So do you think what we done was right in the sense that took them and brought them home, or would you do it differently next time?
In that instance, Ruby was absolute. And the thing is, I couldn't have dropped and leave because that wasn't the point of those classes. All the parents were sitting on the benches watching.
Right.
So I definitely want to contact the lady to say, obviously, Tuesday was a shit show, didn't really work. Maybe we could try it again. Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's just trying to get them out of the house is going to be the main.
It's because it's just another thing. I am convinced, and I know I bang on about this all the time, but I am convinced if I hadn't have been at work that day and I'd have picked them up and I'd have taken them home and I'd have calmly given them dinner. We weren't in such a rush. Not everything was like, rush, quick, Nanny's picking you up from here, then she's going to take you there, then Daddy's going to get you ready, then Mum is going to pick you up. It was just, they'd had this awful lead up to something that was already making them a little bit nervous. It's just another disadvantage for working mums that I can't, and for me to even leave work at that time to get home for 5 was a nightmare at work as well. So, yeah, just another disappointment of being a working mum.
Yeah, it was a very stressful situation, but hopefully we can get them there next time.
Yeah.
But I think we've done our best and couldn't really have done much different in that situation, I don't think. So.
But a bit of a more cheerier subject now, although it does feel a little bit strange for me. Don't know if you noticed, if you're watching on YouTube, it's November.
Got our Christmas jumpers out.
Yeah, we're going down that route. As far as I'm concerned, in November, it should be called the C word because it's not December yet. Why are we celebrating Christmas? But it seems to be everywhere I go. In the shops, on the radio. Heart has started playing the Christmas songs in November. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. Do you have your tree up? My teaching assistant, big up the Nikki, she has got her tree. She's put her tree up. She's coming in showing me pictures of her Christmas tree. I said to her, what? It's not even mid-November.
Sorry, Nikki, but that's fucking ridiculous.
But we love you.
I feel like Christmas is losing some of that beauty. I love Christmas, I do. Yeah, I love it. But I feel like it's losing some of that beauty because it's being celebrated too long.
Do you think?
Oh, by the time you've actually got to Christmas Day, you've been celebrating a month and a half now, and it's like it used to be. It definitely used to be when I was a kid. 1st of December was like, that was your time to start Christmas, and that was your countdown to Christmas Day. Even for, things were coming in the shop, say, I don't know, maybe mid-November, not like early October, what they're doing now. And I do feel like...
No, normally I think the Christmas stuff, isn't it? They get Halloween out the way.
Oh, no.
And it's a joke. It's kind of October 31st is Halloween, and then as soon as it hits November 1st, Christmas!
Yeah, it's a month earlier than what it used to be.
Do you think? Or do you think maybe we just didn't notice because we were younger?
No, it's definitely more...
Definitely creeping earlier. I wasn't sure if it's because my birthday, hint, hint, Dean, is at the end of November. Don't forget, Dean.
How could I? Get sent reminders all the time.
Links.
Sent links.
Yeah. FYI, I might have
Got
this.
a couple of links last night from you, actually. I was out down the old pub.
Yeah, you haven't looked at those yet.
A couple of links. No?
Yeah, that's just for some fancy dress. That's
okay.
Fine. Yeah. So, I do send him a lot of links. There's no point us both having a Prime account and paying for that. Just one of us needs them.
Yeah, it is really annoying. I'm just like, why don't you just order it yourself? I don't know how to use Prime. What, you don't know how to log into Amazon?
No, it's not that I don't know. It's that I don't see the point in us both paying for Prime when we live in the same house and I'm a pauper and I need you to pay for things.
That's a fair point, but what is it? $7.99 a month or something for Prime? Is it?
Yeah, $7.99 a month. That's 2 lunches at work. Every little helps.
Yeah, but the time you take to look at the link, send it to me, remind me to do it, get frustrated at me when I don't do it, that's probably worth £8 worth of stress a month, isn't it?
No, I want you to pay for it. Also, I need them delivered to your work because I'm never home. Anyway, so when do you think the lead up should start? So I always thought it was because it was my birthday at the end of November that in my head I was always like, birthday out the way, Christmas can start on the 1st of December. But it seems like we're not alone. But also there are a lot of people that think different. And why not? Let them.
I've seen polls up there where like... It's like 50-50. People are like, they want it earlier, and some people are like, no, it's ridiculous. Look, I just think too much of a good thing, like, mars it a bit. I feel like if you have it more in a shorter period, it's more special and more more intense during that period. If you kind of drag it out for 2 months, it dilutes the beauty of it. That's the only thing I would say.
Do you think there as well? I would say the pressure of Christmas... particularly now that we have 2 children and we're both working and life is very busy, the pressure of Christmas, I would say I felt more over the last few years, and I'm trying not to let it. But there's something that I did last year that I wanted to share because Some people might think it's a bit Scroogey or whatever, but I just found for myself and for my own mental health, Christmas was stressing me out. I felt the pressure of it. I felt the comparison of it as a parent. I felt that there's a lot of comparison there. And, you know, even things like, are you doing the elf? Are you not doing the elf? What kind of calendar does your child get on the 1st of December and things like that? And I definitely got swept up for those few years about buying them the toy calendar.
They hated it.
Well,
they didn't care.
They used to get a Smiggle one or a Peppa Pig one or a Happy Land one or a Harry Potter Lego one, you know, and they're not cheap. And I'd buy these calendars. And then I remember thinking one year, do you know what? They're not even being that grateful. Some mornings I'd have to remind them, oh, open your calendar. And I thought, do you know what? If I'm reminding you to open something, you're not being grateful. So last year I thought, do you know what? You're not having one.
Did
it make a difference to our December? Did I feel that I was abusing my children because they didn't get an advent calendar? No.
When I was a kid, advent calendars was so important. Like the chocolate one, you'd come down, it was like a brilliant thing to open.
Have some chocolate
Have some chocolate.
Breakfast.
It was like a special thing. And if you got one with just open the door of a picture, like, what is this? But like, if you got the chocolate one, you're like, that's quality. And you look forward to doing it every single day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just our kids or kids in general, but our kids do not give a shit.
No.
Like, they're almost like, your chocolate's there, and Daisy, I don't like it.
Yeah, they don't actually really like chocolate.
And Ruby's like left hers for like 4 days, so she like do 4 days when she finally remembers. And it's like, when I was a kid, this was like special, really special.
So I just decided not to do it.
So is it because they just get more sport than my day and all this, but is it because they just get so much more now and so much more access to stuff and everything they want, and they just become?
I mean, it's interesting because I think, like I said, last year I went with a very different tack on Christmas. Not because I was being Scrooge, not because I was being tight, but because I wanted to make sure that my children had the right attitude towards Christmas and that they were showing that they were grateful. So a few years ago, I remember the children both needed bikes, and they got bikes, and they got what I would class as really big Christmas presents. They had some really fabulous presents for Christmas. And again, I felt like at points it became a conveyor belt of present opening, and I didn't like it. There was a sense around Christmas morning that I felt uncomfortable with.
It's almost like, how many presents have I got rather than what? It was almost how many can I open?
Yeah.
She's got 20 and she's got 18 or whatever.
It became a conveyor belt, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know, I feel uncomfortable with this. And I didn't say anything at the time because it was Christmas, but I reflected on it afterwards. And I made a decision last year, and I know everyone has different financial situations, different budgets for Christmas. But for us as a family, I set £100 for each child. Now, a lot of my friends were quite shocked by that. How can you get them Christmas presents just for £100? With, you know, the technology advances and the fact that Daisy was 9 last year, our eldest. How can you do Christmas on a budget like that? And I said, well, I'm going to set myself the target, and I'm going to try. So I got them, you know, a few of their favourite things. They got nice gifts. They still got gifts. And you know what? On Christmas Day, they didn't even notice. They had a few presents in their stocking, and the magic of Christmas was there. They opened their presents. They were excited. If anything, because there were less, they straight away were getting out the things that they did have and using them straight away, talking about them straight away. And I actually felt happier watching them open them as well, because it wasn't that conveyor belt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, before
and it didn't impact Christmas. It didn't do anything.
No.
And I'm going to do it again this year.
I reckon we should reduce it to 50. Not being tight, but let's reduce it to 50.
Are you joking? Oh, Dean. I was making a really nice point then, and then you've got to go and do that.
Just keep reducing it until nothing. Then they get an orange like I used to get from Christmas. Well, that's what my dad used to say to me. He used to get an orange and a piece of coal every
Yeah, and I bet they had lovely memories of their Christmas.
They loved that orange. I bet they did.
I think the memories of Christmas aren't... Honestly, if you turn around and said to me, right, when you was in your later years of primary school, early years of secondary school, what did you get for Christmas? I would struggle to tell you. But I can tell you the memories of the games that we were played, the laughs that we had, the funny Christmas stories that we've got. And I know that sounds really cynical and you're like, oh, for God's sake, Sarah. But That's true.
I just like the. As a kid, I loved the atmosphere and the magic and the mood everyone was in at Christmas. Yeah, obviously, of course, you wanted presents and all that, but yeah, like you say, I don't really remember that part of it at all.
Yeah.
I used to hate opening presents because I hate the people watching me, and I get like this. If I don't like it, I've got to fake it type mentality.
You're not very good at faking it, are you?
No, not at all. I hate surprises.
I am.
Fucking yeah, you're the best faker in the world.
Carry on.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, lost your train of thought now.
Yeah, no, I used to hate opening presents as a kid. I used to tell my mum, look, don't get me any surprises. And I used to want that bit to be over. Yeah, like you're exactly right. It's the magic of Christmas. It's the atmosphere. It's people's mood. It's being with the family. It's playing all those games. That's a real important thing. It is, but it's very cliche, but that is what you remember. It's the feeling of it, not opening the present, being like, oh, another notebook.
And I remember last year as well. We've started going to the pantomime as well the last few years, haven't we? And I've been using that money that I would have normally used maybe on some more presents or the advent calendars or whatever to do more experiences together.
Oh, I love the pantomime. I love theatre. I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good.
And you like our year? We go to a farm, don't we? Our Buckets farm trip every year. I drag Dean to the farm.
I don't like that.
He always seems to be hungover. I always seem to book this farm after he's been on his like boys' night out, his Christmas night out the night before. But I still drag him around this farm.
If you book it over Christmas, you've got about a 50% chance of me being hungover. Because over Christmas, you do drink I tend to.
You do.
It's not like I'm sitting at home just getting pissed all night, but you get there's lots of social events, see lots of friends, and you got lots of work stuff and all that, and yeah, you just end up boozing. I do anyway, but so yeah, you're not going to catch me.
It's interesting because over the last few years as well, particularly my mum and dad have been badgering me to go away for Christmas abroad, and I don't want to. I really, really don't want to. I'd happily go away after Christmas. But the thought of being away with my children on Christmas Eve, would it impact the magic? And if you have been away for Christmas Eve, what is it like? So, Dean, you did a bit of research about this idea of going away at Christmas. Again, not my vibe. But what was like the response?
So I did a poll and it was, do you go abroad for the Christmas holiday? So not away abroad, for a different country, obviously. So the answers were always, never, sometimes. Always was 3%, never was 82%.
I'm not surprised.
And sometimes was 15%. A lot of people did message on this saying they would love to, but again, going away at Christmas isn't cheap. It's just the prices ratchet up as well. It's like, taking, during the summer,
holiday
really.
time, isn't it?
Holiday time, it really ratchets up. So I think it would be higher, that people that want to do it. But I think people with young kids all feel quite similar. Like Christmas at home is a lot more special, isn't it? When kids wake up in their own... Look, we've never done it, so I can't really compare in terms of
I think
of
as well,
Christmas
just a spoiler alert, if you're listening with your kids in the car, don't. Just turn it off a minute. But for me, it takes away the magic of Christmas. I can just imagine our children having those questions of, but how's Santa going to find me? Oh, but the hotel doesn't have a chimney. And then also, logistically, you've got to take an extra suitcase for the presents. I feel like you only get a few years of them really deeply believing and then being immersed inside the magic. So I would like to think maybe it's year 3, year 4 that they start questioning properly and, not necessarily believing. That's my experience as a teacher when I tend to see it, the conversations happening in school. So once the children are both out of that phase, I would probably be more inclined to take them away. But up until that point, I want the magic. I want it at home.
I've been pushing Boxing Day, going away Boxing Day for many years now because I get lots of time off over Christmas, and that time off between Boxing Day and when I go back is a bit of a dead time. Like you've eaten yourself ragged, you've drunk yourself ragged, you're a bit done with partying, shit weather outside, you feel like shit.
All right. It's the magic of Christmas in the Walker household. Lovely.
It is just a bit shit. I don't like it.
Oh
right?
My God.
So I'm
Scrooge.
that part after Christmas I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I've been pushing going away, and my brother and his family booked to go to Tenerife, and they were like, "Do you fancy it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So it's the first time this year we're ever going away.
Do you know that's actually not what happened?
What happened?
Do you know that's not what happened?
What happened then?
Your mum rang me.
Yeah.
She said that Amy and Luke are going away on Boxing Day.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I fancy that. God, I want to go to Tenerife because we were supposed to go to Tenerife and you didn't book it. Anyway, that's a previous episode. And I was like, oh, I fancy that. And I said to your mum, do you think they'd mind if we went? And then we went round your brother's about 2 weeks later and we were sitting in the garden and I literally said in Amy's face, that's Dean's sister-in-law, well, our sister-in-law, I said, basically, can we come?
So we invited ourselves?
Yeah, we invited ourselves.
Well,
that's how that
Doesn't
works.
matter. But anyway, yeah, it's the first year we're doing it.
Do you know what the most exciting bit about the holiday is, though, for me? I am so excited. So they're all flying back on New Year's Day, right? Okay. I am a little bit of a party pooper here. I dislike New Year's Eve, okay? I dislike the price hikes. I dislike staying up to midnight because I like to be in bed by 10 at all times. I dislike the tiredness. I just don't like it. I hate the whole 10, 9, 8, 7.
Oh, that's the
and then the countdown and the kissing
bit.
and the cuddling.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like it. So I put it to Dean when I was looking at the flights. Let's fly back bang on New Year's Eve. We land in Gatwick at 11:50 p.m. So we will probably be either on the plane or walking to passport control at midnight. And I couldn't be happier about
when
that.
I used to go out for New Year's Eve, when the countdown was on, and I knew everyone would start cuddling in a minute, 12 o'clock, I used to go to the toilet. I used to go and hide in the cubicle. My social anxiety used to go through the roof there, and I just hated it. Because it's the cringe of it. I know people are oh yeah, Happy New Year. It's my life's no different from 5 seconds ago. What the fuck are you talking about? And it's just so cringe. I can't cope with it. And yeah, you feel the same. We'd go to bed at 10 o'clock, don't we?
We do. We're so sad.
I enjoy it. I love waking up New Year's Day, fresh year. I like that. And we do something with the kids New Year's Day, go swimming or whatever we've done last year. And
everywhere's really not busy as well because everyone's got hangovers and we go somewhere nice.
And we've been boozing all of Christmas, like I said. So New Year's Eve feels like it's just I'm a bit done by then. But when you're in your 20s, you're you can carry on and keep doing it. But now we've got kids, it's just it's the right move.
It's a late night for me. Invite me out at 5 so I can be home by 10. Great. Fabulous.
That's seeing the new year in well.
I know. I do have a question, though, relating it back to our C word episode. Christmas in November. Oh, my gosh. But I do have a question for you.
Go on.
I don't know if you're going to answer it. But what's your favourite Christmas film?
Home Alone. Not even close.
Oh, you knew that straight away?
Oh, it's not even close.
Okay.
One and two are the top two.
One is better than 2.
Home Alone 2 is one of the best 2s of a series ever. When 2's always a bit shit. I think 2 is...
Can we call it a sequel? You sound like you're talking about a poo or something.
Sorry, yeah. One of the best sequels of a film ever. Both the films are great and you can't really see which one's best. Whereas some sequels are just so bad. It's this is just a money maker. This isn't...
Oh, okay.
So they're definitely Home Alone for me. What about you?
I don't know. I do love a bit of Love Actually. I do. And I love the holiday.
Seen it.
Oh, for God's sake. Love a bit of... Oh, he's shocking, isn't he? Love a bit of The Holiday. I also love The Grinch. I love them all. I love a Christmas film. To be honest with you, I could watch a Christmas film in August. So I am saying, you can. I am saying that obviously, Christmas in November is not my vibe. But a Christmas film, they're feel-good films. You can watch them all year round, no?
Watching Home Alone in August is like having a shit in the urinal. It's just it's just completely wrong. It's completely wrong. It just doesn't feel right at all, does it? It does feel completely wrong.
I mean, that analogy, I wouldn't know what it feels like to have a shit in the urinal.
Well, neither would I. That's why I don't watch Home Alone in August. I don't know what that feels like either. It's wrong.
Yeah. No, I love a Christmas film, you weirdo. I have a question for you as well.
I love a question.
I know you love a question. I feel like I'm going to just fire out all these questions at Dean just really quickly. Our Christmas tree, we have had the same artificial tree, which is really bad. It looks really anemic and it looks like it needs to be dumped quickly. But we've had it for 11 years. Can I get a new Christmas tree?
So I've been saying for the last 5 years what we do in this, and yours so just
Well,
like
no.
a weird. You're like, oh no, this can last another year. And I'm like, what is that? Like these people have got these beautiful trees, really well decorated. We've got this like stump with a few leaves on it. It's so bad.
Well, I'm trying to be good for the environment because I'm very conscious that I'm like to think that nobody does this, but doesn't buy their artificial tree and then just throw it away. But also, the real trees, I wouldn't know where to start. And don't the needles all fall off on the floor? That would really irritate me. Just another cleaning job that I don't need leading up to the crazy Christmas period. We'll get an artificial one.
Not really sure.
A good one.
Yeah, it just needs to look better than the one we've got at the minute because that's diabolical. And I think it's special for the kids as well. I think they love decorating it. And when I was a kid, I used to come down and used to turn the lights on in the morning. You've got this shitty tree. Look, we've had it 10 years. Whatever you say, 11 years. Let's get a new one. I'm fine. I've been saying it for the last 5. It's not me. It's you.
Yeah.
That's like.
So I love decorating the house with Christmas decorations, but when it comes down to buying them, it's just something I really struggle to part my money with because I'm like, oh, they only come out for a few weeks a year. And I love the house looking great.
One thing I'm not doing, though, is putting those lights back up.
Oh, the Christmas lights. That's because, first of all, sorry, you say you put them up. You've never put the Christmas lights up. My brother-in-law comes around and puts the Christmas lights up because you're scared of heights. Grow a pair and get up the ladder.
There's absolutely no way on earth that I am getting up a ladder doing that. It's not worth my life to put up a few lights that just shit anyway. It's just not worth my life.
I'll go up the ladder.
Because I'm the sort of person, I get really nervous on ladders, so my legs will start wobbling, and then I'll just wobble off, and I just can't do it. I've always been terrified of ladders. I see people just flying up ladders like it's like they're walking down the street, and I'm like, these people.
I could fly up a ladder. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest.
All right, then we'll put the ladder up for you then.
I will. I'll do it. If you buy the lights, I'll put them up. I love the outdoor lights.
And also, it took us 3 years to take the ones down because I was mentioning in a previous podcast, but the storm blew them down, didn't it?
I know. So Mr. over here never took the Christmas lights down. To be fair, I probably could have, but I didn't. And one night the storm was literally awful and I was leaning out that was more dangerous actually. What I ended up doing was leaning out the girls' bedroom window, taking them down in the dark in the middle of a bloody hurricane.
I know.
Oh well.
Should have given you a little nudge.
There's one thing I just really want to bring up to end this podcast, and if you're listening, please stay, and if you have children under the 16 or under, I really want you to stay and listen to this. And if your children are older and you have experience of anything we're about to talk about, please reach out and let us know your stories because it is something that has become an absolute passion of ours. So, Dean, do you want to talk about your Instagram journey over the last week?
Yeah, so I saw a post and some articles online that Australia have obviously come in to ban social media for under 16s. And it just suddenly twigged on me that we need to be doing this here. Like it's such an obvious move in my mind, and so many parents are worried about this. So I made a video saying on Instagram about this. Support was enormous a few people saying, "Oh, you're the parent, just tell them not to use it." Which again, I see some value in that, obviously, but if it's banned, it's a lot easier to do that. So I made a video, and it just got so much support, and I was like, "Well, I'll start a petition on it." Went on to the petitions. There's already one going that was started a few days ago. So I was like, look, I'll get behind this, share this on Instagram. It had about 600 signatures at the time. And that was last Saturday. So 6 days ago, the recording of this. 6 days ago, it's now got 83,000. So
it just shows how many people are terrified for their under 16s and their children on this topic.
Oh, it's motoring, and it's gonna once it hits 100,000, that means they might debate it in Parliament. But
it's coming. If Australia have done it, it's the push they need.
I feel like it's gonna happen definitely, and government have already come out. Spokespeople have already come out and said, look, they're looking at it already, and that was when it had like 50. And there's other petitions out there similar, not like this, not exactly like this, but banning smartphones and stuff, but this one, so if you haven't signed it yet and you want to get behind that, you want to look into it. It's on my Instagram in my link, so get on there and just let's get it over 100k because it's really important to ban this.
Yeah, and over the next few weeks, actually, we're filming a few really exciting podcasts with what I think are some really interesting, amazing guests. And one of those is the founders of Smartphone Free Childhood, which has been a movement you may have seen on Instagram. And we are really looking forward to finding out some real facts about this. So if it's something you're concerned about, keep an eye out for that podcast when it comes up, because I've certainly got some questions that I want to ask them. And I want to know the stats out there, and I want to know why this is such an important topic
the
for
mental
parents.
health in children has absolutely skyrocketed. I know that from some work I've done previously on Instagram. I know that from the stats. Like 50%, 100% in some cases they've gone up. So, and I'm not saying phones are all to blame, but there's no doubt in my mind social media and phones have contributed significantly to those increases.
Absolutely. So we can debate those coming up. I'm quite excited for that episode. I really am, because I really want to enhance my understanding of what are the issues and how we can address them. But thank you always for listening and tuning in to the podcast. We would really appreciate it if you would just take those 30 seconds to leave us a review, or just click on those 5 stars. It helps us to reach more like-minded parents.
And also the Christmas sweatshirts that we're wearing today.
Oh, God, we never mentioned the jumpers that we've got on. People who haven't listened to the end, sweatshirts, people who haven't going to listen to the end think that I actually go around wearing this kind of tat.
This isn't tat. You can find them on the fundadsstore.com. Loads of different designs.
All I want for Christmas is sleep.
And
because as a parent, I don't get much. Do you think it's too early for Christmas? Like, subscribe, and give your comments below.
Thank you so much for watching.